I am California of the past.
I am California of the past.
I am
California of the past.
My higher power provides me with the skills to safely single-hand a sailboat in the ocean and watches over me while I'm sleeping when single-handing my sailboat at night. Asterisk. And now for the rest of the story, as Paul Harvey used to say. Following the disappointing events at Point Cape May, New Jersey, there was a long, sad, and lonely drive from the eastern seaboard down the southern coast into Florida and westward through the southern states looking for a boat to replace Strange Bird. When I reached San Diego, I called my old former dockmate in Berkeley to let him know that my search of Katrina sites had yielded no positive results and to inquire whether he had any sources in Southern California that I could check into on my way back to the Bay Area. Of the several leads he provided, it was not until I reached Santa Cruz that I found a boat to replace Strange Bird. There, nestled in the outer harbor, was Dulcinea, destined to become my next boat and vessel. I would eventually sail to the Galapagos Islands. Even though Dulcinea was still on her stern, in my mind's eye, she was now quintessential quest. I made a quick drive to the Bay Area to drop off my truck and headed back to Santa Cruz to sail her home. Dawn came quickly and I left Santa Cruz Harbor on an outgoing tide. The seas and wind were moderate and the temperatures became colder the further out I progressed. The wind died down and I had to keep tracking to make headway against a strong southerly current. The overcast gave way to an evening that lacked a sunset due to foggy conditions near Pescadero Beach. So I decided to anchor near a group of boats whose occupants were partying. I awakened to a still sea and eerily quiet morning. It was too quiet, so I went up on deck to check things out and found that all the other boats had departed. The light to non-existent winds left me no alternative than to start the engine to motor northward until winds picked up again. Somewhere between Daly City shoreline and the channel entrance to San Francisco Bay, I must have fallen into a deep sleep because I awakened to the sound of a foghorn. When I checked my charts, I realized that I had sailed past San Francisco Bay entrance and was in the vicinity of Point Reyes. So I dropped my sails and motored slowly through the area, checking the reported depths on the depth sounder. I anchored in 32 feet of water and went below to sleep. I awakened to a wonderfully warm, sunshine-drenched morning. I went on deck and realized that my chart of the San Francisco Bay entrance was not where I had placed it last night. It must have been blown overboard during the night while I was asleep. No problem. I'm well rested. It's a bright, sunny day. I know the San Francisco Bay like the palm of my hand. So all I have to do is pull up the anchor and sail to Berkeley. When I began to pull the anchor chain aboard, I noted that it was hanging straight down, all 225 feet of it. Then I noticed that I didn't see some of the familiar landmarks on Mount Tam. Something was weird. So I called the Coast Guard on my ship-to-shore radio to explain my circumstances. "Skipper, how many people are on board?" I replied that I was alone. "Skipper, you are 8 nautical miles of the entrance to Monterey Harbor. Do you need assistance getting there?" "Negative," I replied. I thanked him for the information, signed off, and went below to pull out my charts for the Monterey Bay. Went back on deck, counted my blessings, and sailed into Monterey Harbor to prepare for another trip up the coast. This trip would be easier. I planned to sail out of Monterey Harbor in the early morning on the outgoing tide and intended to sail into Pillar Point Harbor during the wee hours of the night rather than anchoring near Pescadero Beach as I had done when I left Santa Cruz for Berkeley Marina. I didn't want another free overnight southbound transit down the coast again. Well, after midnight, I finally landed at the assigned transient dock put the boat in order, went to bed, and slept soundly. Next morning, I went to Catch Joanne's restaurant and had a wonderful breakfast and celebrated my decision to berth my boat here in Pillar Point Harbor instead of Berkeley Marina.